Yes, people, welcome back to another episode of
Intro and Extro.
Yes. So there's two big things that's going on today. One thing I'm really excited about, and it's just like I'm a new person, is the bad boys off.
Cheers.
Hands are back. Cast is off.
Cheers.
I'm a new man.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
fresh. I'm ready. We're on the mend.
Yep.
The second thing is there's three of us here today. And hopefully that we're going to get a nice flow from one of our previous episodes around my cast and, well, my lack of cast and what happened and how I managed and cope with things. And while we've got Frankie here today, and just a little bit of an insight, when I first met Frankie, which is not so long ago, I walked into
10 minutes?
Literally 10 minutes ago, I walked into the room, never met her in my life before. First thing she did,
let me look at your hand.
it was grab my hand and look at my hand. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
So I'm Frankie. I'm one of James's friends from a long time ago. Yeah, bit of a weird one. So I'd been aware that Dion had had this cast on for 5 months, and I was just really interested in how he was coping. So by background, I'm an occupational therapist, so an OT. Nobody knows what that is, but it's okay. That's what we're here to learn. And one of the specialties that we can go into and that I have taken quite an interest into is hand therapy. So obviously I hear Dion's had a cast on for 5 months, he's had this surgery, yada yada yada. I had to look at your hand. I had to.
It did come out quite a shock. Like I walked in, James was like, yeah, Frankie's here today. Obviously, it'd be really good for you to meet her. I just thought like normal, hello, how are you? Honestly, I've been in the room about a foot and she just pounced on me, grabbed my hand.
It was generally like, let's have a look.
Yeah. She didn't say hello first.
No.
Just like, bam, hand.
Straight in.
No,
Come look at your hand.
Work all the time.
Yeah,
Straight in.
And
But before we go into that story though, Frankie, are you an intro or an extra?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of obvious. And it's probably obvious to you.
just a small.
It's probably very obvious. I would say I'm an extrovert.
Ooh.
Very much so. But only recently, I feel like.
Yes.
Maybe.
And I think me being me, I just let it happen.
Yeah.
Like, again, never met a woman in my life. I was like, yeah, have a look at my hand. Yeah. Well, you like touching the scar. Is this all sort of?
I'm like, what's your range of movement?
Yeah.
But you are used to it though, anyway, aren't you? Hand touching. But go on. Sorry.
I was gonna say like hand. I think as well because obviously I've hid my hand for so long now.
Yeah.
Having it off and just being in the fresh air, I want to show it off.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long just to hide it away.
So if you ever see Dion in the street, just grab his hand.
Basically, yeah.
Bit stiff a minute there.
Because that's what I literally was going to say. I was going to say, like, how is life now that you've got the cast off? Like, talk to us about the emotions of that, man. How's it all going?
You were lucky enough to be with me when the cast came off.
Yes.
James took me to hospital to get it off. So we went there. I just said the goodbyes to the cast and stuff, and James is in the waiting room, and he's like, but the first thing I did, and I think people who have had a cast on or have had any sort of injury or anything where they've had to like cover things up will know that
wash it.
Just having it,
get it washed.
Honestly,
get it washed.
Showering for the last 5 minutes has been an absolute ball ache.
How have you been doing it?
I have to stand like a teapot in the shower and I'll stick my hand up in here. Like that.
You know you can get bags.
Yeah, but that's an ick, isn't it? That's so icky. Might as well put a big plastic bag on. So I essentially just stuck my hand out of the shower, and then I washed down to here with a sponge. And I did have a toothbrush where I actually stick up it to like try and clean inside it. Because in my head I was like, I stink. I must be a tramp and stuff. So the first thing I did when I got back was I had the best shower in the world. Like I never felt so clean in my life.
Really?
I bought a new sponge.
Yeah.
How far did it go up your hand?
So I've had three cast ons there. So I've had the first one, which was probably like a third way up my wrist.
Yeah.
Then I had the big massive back slab on post operation. For
Where did it come up to on your?
Just up to my knuckles.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then the final one I'd done for 4 weeks was a longer cast up to here, but my thumb was free.
Oh, okay.
So I had a bit of movement there. Whereas my other one, my thumb was in, wasn't it?
Yes.
And like I said, it's like, to be fair, like the 5 months has been hard. Like it's been, I've hated it. I've just one, I've been off work. I've not been able to work just because of the dangers of knocking it and because of all the little breaks in there. This is like pre and post operation. It was crazy. Just not being able to do life normally. Like not being able to like shower. Just even like play Xbox. Like in the evenings, I like catch up with the boys, play Xbox and stuff. Can't do that. So I haven't done that for ages. There's loads of little things I don't. Even like washing up in the sink.
Yeah.
My hands like pinch like things and then scrub it. You just can't clean things. Like you can't get your hands in.
No.
All the small
what about
things.
Getting dressed and things?
Getting dressed, like catching it. Like all my clothes have got little thready things on now because it like catches it and rubs it on and stuff. So
do you ever wear button shirts?
No.
That's
Yeah,
alright.
it's not a button shirt guy.
It's not a smart guy.
No.
Just casual, isn't it? Casual.
So essentially, as you've heard, guys, Frankie has been watching Dion's story quite closely with the hand situation. Essentially,
As soon as I saw the scar, I was like,
as soon as she saw it, she was right on that thing. So obviously, she reached out to us and said, "Hey, I've got some 2pence that she'd like to share," and we just thought, "Yeah, why not? Why not? You know, knowledge is power and all that sort of stuff." So, Frankster, post Dion having his cast off. Talk to him about what he can expect life to be like and what he should be doing to get that hand back to optimum range and all them things.
So it varies. Obviously, you'll have your regular physio sessions, won't you?
Yeah.
But it's not as if as soon as you get your cast off, you can just go straight back into your normal life. Like your hand has obviously been stuck in a permanent position for 5 months. Your hand's going to feel weaker, your grip's going to feel weaker, if you can even grip, because what's your range of movement now?
Show the viewers, Bedford, go on.
So one thing, before I had my operation, I had to do these sort of movements.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners, I'm just touching my fingers. If you're not watching YouTube.
Do it right next to the mic.
But on my left side, I can only get across to my second from middle finger at the minute. It just doesn't reach across. Because my little finger absolutely...
That gripping thing, like a mug and stuff.
Yeah, like I think that's not been too bad because I've still got quite a bit of strength in my upper part. But my little finger just doesn't want to line up anymore. I think because where the mirrors fell on me, it just pushed it all out of place. And the doctor said that there's a sheet of muscles under your knuckles or above your knuckles that because I haven't used them for so long, they've just fell apart. Whereas all these all move together. Whereas now these all move quite individually.
So you've got to obviously work then now with like physio and OTs, depending on where you are and depending on if OTs are in that field. But we do cover that field. You'll have to work with them now to sort of regain that strength in your hands. And it's going to be tough, especially with your normal job being a PT as well. And you being a physical person. How's it been, obviously, working or training or whatever since... Have you even been able to train since you've had the cast on?
No, I've not done any upper body stuff really. If I have, it's been like very minimal weights. I've done a lot of lower work. Like I said, purely because I haven't been able to grip things. I can't put weight through it if it's pulling or pushing. There's probably been times when I could have, but it's almost like it's a case of if I did and I damaged the bone, it wouldn't have been savable. So it's just telling myself that I can't do these things. I still went to gym probably 5 times a week anyway. But I adapted my sessions and did like cardio or...
but that's obviously something. So when I was training to be an OT, all that you talk about is something that we call like ADLs and your occupations. And occupation in OT world, the definition is anything you want and need and have to do every single day. So obviously something that you need to do is brush your teeth, go to the toilet, like wash the pots, things that are like needed to maintain your like daily routines. Anything you want to do is obviously like training. Like that's something that's a massive passion for you. It's something that has obviously become into a job for you. And then you've then been told, oh, I know you've had this horrible accident, which one is traumatic itself. And then 2, oh, you actually can't do all these things that you love and enjoy doing for 5 months. Like, it takes a toll. Yeah,
I think one of the barriers that I've had as a PT is not being able to train or coach new people, because when I'm training new people, I have to be able to support, make sure I can spot them in the gym. Obviously, like James, you'll know and stuff. There's might have to take the weight off people. So I've had to really step back my clientele that I've got in and just the ones I've kept is the ones I've been able to verbal lot with. So I'm going to sit there and talk them through the sessions. But looking, I've had them for over a year now, so it's a safety. But obviously, that I've lost out on potential new clients because I'm not in a position where I can give them the full experience of like a one-to-one PT session with demonstrations and supporting them and stuff. So that's obviously all to come. Now I've almost got to learn again, because again, it's if someone's trying to do a bench press, can I safely help them if they need the support and stuff? And it's
because before you'd be able to then go and spot people.
When you even think about it, whereas now it's like, yo, can my left hand take it if it drops down one side, or is my grip strength strong enough? My head will probably tell me I am, but now my body has its limitations, and it's having the things in place now to get it back to that as much as possible. And hopefully, because I'm still fairly young, my body should snap into
definitely.
Yeah, but there is a silver lining here, basically, because the beauty of the recovery here is, you can even do some cool things, like you were saying. There's like some wax thing that you can do. There's different like things that you can do to really help mobility.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not a hand specialist by any way, shape or form, but I think we're mainly talking about this because when I was training, because I'm very newly qualified, but I really took an interest on the hand therapy side of things. And the wax bath, we had it at one of my placements, and you put your hand in, and it's like it's a special type of wax. I can't remember the name.
Just to sort of we had this conversation before we started filming, and my first thing was, well, I can't fit in the bath because I'm too tall. And Frankie goes, it's just your hand. I was like, oh. I was thinking, how can I get in the bath? My feet will stick out.
Disclaimer: you don't need to you don't need to put your whole body in a wax bath. Just your hand or any injured part. But on the hand therapy, we'd do it a lot of people that had different hand surgeries, and basically, it's obviously when you're warming up your muscles, it helps them to move more freely. Obviously, if you're cold, your muscles are going to be more stiff, your bones are going to be more stiff, everything's a bit more stiff, isn't it? So when you're putting it in this wax bath, it warms up all the muscles, bones, everything in your hand, and then it enables you to move your hand a little bit more.
Because I found that I bought some wrist wraps and wrist supports for the gym now, so when I've got them on and it's like compressing my wrist, everything feels a lot safer. And stuff, and
adding that extra support.
I think it's also like the mind game, is it? It's telling you that. And when the doctor, when she first took it off, do you ever like babies are born and they get them out and they're just flopping around, like they're just that's how she was with my wrist. Like, I was like flipping. She's like, just relaxing. I was like, you like flopping my wrist about? But she's like, mobility is good, and she moved it further than I can on my own. But like when you've got the support there, there's actually a lot more movement. It's weird.
So you look at, like, when we do the wax bath, like you look at your passive movement. I can't remember what the word is.
Because you
active and passive.
Because on your feet you got dorsiflex and plantarflex. Whatever it is, isn't it? Is it the same with that or not?
But don't ask me about it because I don't know.
Well, you said
so this is not a specialty now.
The active and
so you've got passive. Your active movement, which is obviously what you can do.
So try to do that bit for the viewers out there. That's where it stops, isn't it?
Yeah. So then you'd be in the wax bath, and then you'd sort of do your passive movement. So that's painful, isn't it? So with the wax on it, it'll make it a little bit easier because, like,
that one's like
So like you say, you'd be warming it up, and also it's easy to move.
Can you feel over this? That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's crazy. This was when I walked in the first scene. Just grabbed my hand and just started touching me.
And then what can you do backwards?
I feel like it's more that way, but it's still sort of.
You can feel it though. Yeah. So it helps a lot.
Obviously, for the audio listeners there, she just absolutely tried to break my wrist again. How's that feel?
You've had a really bad 5 months. Let's give you another. So that's things that the wax bath will help with. But that's what I would say. Obviously, it's just something that I've witnessed when I was training, and it seemed to have really, really helped people with other hand injuries.
if you would have met me 2 days after the accident, what would be 2 bits of advice you'd give me for my next 5 months?
With the cast on.
With the cast on and with.
What would my advice be?
Because like I said, I'm in a really tough time. I'm struggling with just life and just getting through the next few weeks. What would be your 2 bits of advice that say, you know what, Dion, do this and this, or think about this and this, and this will really help you?
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed, but I tell everybody left, so I have to do less work. Smart.
Smart.
Right, so at least it was on your left-hand side, but obviously, I'd say, obviously, in line with what the doctors have said to you, the surgeons have said to you, do try and keep using your left hand if they've advised you to.
Yeah.
If they said, yeah, you can lift up cups with it, or you can lift up whatever, or you can use it to brush your teeth, or whatever they've said, because they usually will.
Yeah.
Like, do try and do those movements. Don't sort of just leave it by your side and don't use it.
And I think that's where, so when we were going to gym and stuff, I always said quite early on, I want to go back to gym.
Yeah.
I think in doing that, almost taught my hand again to say, no, you can't just give up, essentially.
Yeah.
It would have been easier just to keep it in a sling and do absolutely different with it. But
especially, like, so you're doing that, you're keeping it in a sling, you wouldn't have used any of these muscles, or your forearm, your upper arm.
Yeah.
But if you're using it, you still, even though you're not using all the muscles and stuff in your hands, you're still going to be using these muscles.
Yeah.
But obviously within the realms of what the surgeons have advised. But, and also, there is obviously, it's different at different places, but as an OT, what we would do is try and get you back to obviously being able to do those things you want and need to do, even with that cast on.
Just to help you mentally, isn't it? Essentially?
Yeah.
How can we make said person's life as easy as possible while they're in this tough time as well?
Yeah, so we would have talked to you a lot about obviously how you can still work, because if you were to have this injury and say like you couldn't work or anything like that, that's loss of income. That's going to affect your house, your life, all these different things. It's like a domino effect. So obviously we just chat with you and establish some goals for like short term and long term, and see how we could help you achieve it. So it could be like anything. There's a lot of like pieces of like small aid equipment that people can use. If people were to use like button shirts and they have to wear a button shirt every single day to work or whatever, there's small like adaptations that you can have.
I've seen that.
Put in socks. Like, there's so much that you can do, and it's a great world of an OT.
Nice.
What I would say to flip someone to you then, James, from the point of view of a friend, how did you see a difference in me? I'd say pre and then post, like cast on and stuff. Would you say you've seen a difference in that?
Yeah, there's definitely a juxtaposition between Bedford that just literally broke his wrists, and I think the nature of the break as well, like it wasn't just your standard wrist break. I think even the surgeon, the doctors did say like all the little tiny minutiae tendons and bones within the hand all crushed, all mashed up. So that truly like eradicated your mental health on a mad one. And as we've just said, gym was a massive part of your life, and that's a massive coping mechanism for anyone anyway, to kind of keep their mental health at a sustained optimal level. But yours just got taken out on a mad one. So you had nothing really to do. Like even when it came to just being able to open doors and all that sort of stuff, you had to kind of have assistance in that.
It was the first few weeks.
Both, exactly.
Both, because I obviously broke my other wrist as well.
Yeah.
Did you break your other wrist as well?
Broke both wrists.
Yeah.
Which is, so the first 2 weeks is crazy when it like this one obviously was massive. It was swollen, had loads of breaks, whereas this had one break. Yeah. But just doing.
So for how long were you without?
I'd probably say about 2-ish weeks, but quite quickly, because this is only a smaller break. My body's got used to the pain, and I had to use this hand. This one is obviously just out of action, so I had to use one. So this now gives me more issues with like small pains than this one does, weirdly.
Really?
Because I've just had to overuse this one.
Yeah.
Also, I had the X-rays and said it's all healed fine, but
because
I had to overwork and stuff like that. There's times where I literally couldn't even. I remember when it first happened, and I was trying to take some tablets at night. I couldn't even open the tablet packet because I had no strength in my wrists. I had to use a knife. Mum's like, "Don't be using that. They just should have called me." Yeah. Mum's like 3 in the morning.
But that's it. It's how old are you?
Me 30.
30. God. Ancient. But obviously 30 years old, like lives independently, has this great, like massive independence, and then something like that. And obviously your friendship with James, you don't want to be having to ring him and be like, "Oh, can you take me
What my
here?"
bum, please, James.
Yeah, well that's it. That is another thing.
Yeah.
How would you wipe your bum? You've got nothing.
Yeah.
Both your hands are broken.
Yeah, it's mad.
Game over.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's tough.
So essentially, it stunk for 5 months. Basically, like, it was just ponging for 5 months. But I think obviously now on the other side of things, like you're feeling a lot better. He's feeling himself now. He's back to prime Bedford. You know, you're gonna see it over the next few eps how it just changes. So
I haven't got to hide my hand.
yeah, exactly.
Tuck it in
Yeah.
my tops and stuff. 'Cause I hated it. Like appearance wise, I hated it. I was just like, this is rank.
But he's back. Prime Bedford's back, and that's what we want. So yeah, obviously it was a pleasure having good old Frank on our ep today, just giving us a bit of insight into what he can do now that he's a free man. Ventilation's going through his, wrists and all that sort of stuff. And you got to try that hot wax thing, innit? Where can we get the wax from, Frank? Just Amazon.
I think you can get them on Amazon.
Yeah,
From what I know.
It makes your hand really smooth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's been-
Obviously, have a chat with your therapist as well, your physio or your OT. Have a chat with them. Make sure that that's something that they're okay with you doing. Obviously, it's just that's what I know from my previous experiences in that field. But yeah, I hope it's taught you guys a little bit about OT as well, and actually what we do. Because, like I say, nobody knows what OT does as well. People do, obviously.
I think what I would say as well, though, like it's if you're going through any sort of like injury or recovery or any sort of process, use what you've got around you, like your friends, but also the professionals as well. Because I said there's a whole field. Because again, I did speak to people in hospitals because I was forced to, and they said, "Oh, we're going to put you through to so and so and so and so, and it's going to help you with this and this." I think if I didn't have that, I would just relied on friends, and they can only do so much because they're not the professionals. So it's just having the confidence to reach out to people that is their job.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I might have had a speedy recovery if I'd have reached out to these different places and stuff. So it's just making sure you do branch out to different occupations and stuff.
And it's definitely about like knowing that those services are obviously available. Like a lot of the time, people, like I say, I'm not going to keep repeating it, but people don't know, there's not a massive awareness of OT. So now that obviously you guys have learned a bit about that, obviously it's a shame that it's now after your cast is off. But little things with anybody who's got any sort of impairment or anything like that, OTs do work in like a lot of fields. So there's lots of different areas that we can help in. And it's always good to maybe ask and see if they've got an OT service wherever you are, because that's what we do. I like to call us professional problem solvers.
That's
lovely.
That's what we do.
So if you don't ask, you never know, do you?
Well, no, that's it.
The power of talking.
Power of talking.
Ask around.
Knowledge is
power.
power.
I appreciate that. It's good to get that.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Bless up, people. Until next time, you know where we're at.
Peace.